what expectation one should carry when they move out of their MBAs? I would say first time job seekers, as a freshers, they have a lot of aspirations. They have a lot of different thought process, which is actually on the ground, so it does not exist at all. So what's your thought that what preparation should one individual make before getting into industry?
Learning never stops, okay? And every day the world around you is changing.
True.
Okay? And now, if you have to be relevant in your field, you will have to upskill yourself. See, a good leader is someone who always makes her team or always showcases her team first and then herself. Okay, that is the basic requirement of a good leader. And a good leader will be more supportive, will win battles for you when the stakes are down. There are innumerable career options. You don't have to be an engineer or a doctor or a CA to do something in life. You can do something in life even if you call yourself a professional pet sitter.
And this again, these days the influencer, I'm sorry for the influencer, I'm saying this because they say financially who's into it? Fire, right? The fire number, that when do you achieve your fire number, when do you get retired early? There was no retirement earlier. I mean, even if we ask our parents, this is what retirement? Let's till the time we are working. But now it is like, okay, I want to retire at 40. Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of GIBS IRE Talks podcast powered by GIBS Business School Bangalore. I'm your host for today's podcast. I'm Sandeep Bansali, Director Admissions, and it's my honor to welcome our today's guest. She is a great corporate personality, and she has been worked with various top-notch institutions, organizations across the country, and been working with Fortune 500 companies. She did her education from ISB. She has also studied in various top-notch international universities across the world as well. And we are honored and privileged to have with us today Ms. Lahari Basu. Thank you so much, Ms. Lahari, for joining us. It's an honor to have you with us today.
It's a pleasure, Sandeep. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. And to start with, for all our audience, we would love to understand where Lahari comes from, what was your childhood looks like, and where were your roots from?
Okay. So first of all, thank you, Sandeep. As I said, it's an absolute honor to be part of this particular podcast and to interact with everyone who's present here. I basically come from Calcutta, West Bengal, now known as Kolkata, though I still prefer calling it Calcutta. Born and raised in Cal. After finishing schooling, I moved to Bangalore, specifically to Siddhaganga Institute of Technology, my alma mater, where I did my engineering. Back in those days, there was not much of an interest to do a computer science or IT, information technology engineering course. So we stuck to core engineering courses. Engineering. Yeah. So I'm a chemical engineer.
Oh, wow.
And after my engineering, I saw this absolute exodus of people going into an Infi or a Wipro. And there were, several placements that, people came and, from all streams, everybody was just going there. But then I did not want to go that route. I don't know why. But then they say, whatever you run from, it comes back
to you. Yes, very true.
So that's what happened now. But then anyway, so at that point in time, so I wanted to stick to chemical engineering and do something in that field, in that domain. But before I get into that, a sneak peek into my childhood. I am the only child of two medical practitioners. Both my parents are doctors. A question I have always been asked is, why did I not choose medicine? Multiple reasons. The basic being that I did not have much of an interest in the base subject biology. So, so that kind of I never found it attractive enough to pursue it. After that, engineering, and then as I was mentioning that, this entire campus thing of, people coming and, Infosys coming, and so I was very clear that I'm not going to. So I did not sit for any of the software, kind of roles that had come. Reliance had come at that point in time, and I wanted to be on the shop floor.
Okay.
But they did not allow women to be on the shop floor.
Okay.
Now everything is changed,
Now
but
everything
at
is
that
changed,
point in
true.
time, no. So I thought, okay, let me move into MBA. So MBA was a kind of a default, you can say, option after engineering, and I did my MBA from IIM Business School, Hyderabad. And post my MBA, I was placed via campus with M Junction Services Limited. It was the only e-commerce organization in the early 2000s in India.
Nice.
And M Junction is a JV, it's a joint venture between Tata Steel, 50% stake, and SAIL, 50% stake, Steel Authority of India. So we called ourselves a paperless company, and it was quite the thing, in early 2000s.
Early 2000s,
yeah.
yes.
So we were into, I had teams who used to educate and make, small time traders aware how to, sign up for auctions, participate in auctions. Everything was a transparent process. So we had Tata Steel as our client, we had Coal India as our client, okay, we had SAIL as our client. So what we used to do is, whatever scrap these organizations used to produce, we used to sell them via forward auction to the highest bidder.
Okay.
So whatever, used to happen offline, say for antiques, you have this market,
offline
where,
bidding.
People come and
Auctions.
they bid, and you'll have an artifact, and they'll say that, okay. So we used to do the same thing online.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So everything was, there was an auction engine that we had. It was a indigenous one. It was inbuilt by the IT team at M Junction. So it was quite the feat. And we used to do forward auctions for organizations to help sell their products. And we also used to do the opposite of it, reverse auctions.
Okay.
For organizations to buy things. Say, for example, you want this notepad. Okay, so we would do reverse auction to help SAIL Authority of India procure notepads from different bidders. Whoever quotes the
least bidding, they get that.
So that was the initial part of my career. Then I got an opportunity to move to the Gulf.
Okay.
So I did take it up. I moved, and initially I started my career in the B2B space. When I moved to Gulf, because of unforeseen circumstances, I was pushed into the B2C space. My first brush in that space, I had absolutely no idea, but I had the conviction, I had the belief, and I also had a lot of belief from people who believed in me, saying that I would be able to pull it off. So I became the youngest country head to manage promotions and merchandising for a very large warehouse distributor in the Middle East, in Dubai.
Okay.
They were essentially responsible for Microsoft. They were the largest partner for Microsoft there in the Gulf, as well as for all the smart wearables, for example, Sony. Sony had just entered the market with a smartwatch then.
Yes.
So I still remember, people used to come and ask
us.
They
had the walkies also, and a lot of products they had.
Yeah, they used to come and ask us that can the watch, self-dial someone and can the watch talk? But the watch could not. They did not have that level of automation in yet. But it was a smartwatch. It could do a lot of things, but not whatever the expectations that people carried. Then a couple of personal things happened, because of which I had to move back to India. When I moved back to India, Bangalore was my preferred destination. Why? Because I always have a soft corner for the city, having done my engineering so close to the city. I evolved right after school, and then the hostel life and everything, the city gave me a lot. So I came to Bangalore, and I joined an adult learning organization called FranklinCovey. It was a short stint, but I did get to learn a lot there. It was my first brush with consultative selling. So as we progress in the conversation, Sandeep, I'll talk about consultative selling a lot more and what it entails. But that was my first brush with consultative selling. From then consulting happened. Yes. So BDO was an opportunity which I kind of took not being totally aware of what consulting entails, but I just wanted to, kind of explore.
Experience.
It was a good stint at BDO, one of the big six they call. I mean, it's called as the big six. And then I had an opportunity with KPMG. I was in fact asked that if I would be interested to explore. I did not think twice, and being the brand in itself that it was and it is, I knew that it's going to be an amazing journey. And ever since then, I'm with the
So you happen to mention that first time you moved from B2B to B2C. So do you feel that was a right decision what you took, or what thoughts you were going through when you said, oh, I have to take care about B2C now? So what was the thought process which went in?
So the only thing that kind of was the driving factor behind it was that I had to do something.
Okay.
Because the reason why I moved to Gulf, when I moved there, that reason did not work out for whatever circumstances. And so my next course of action was, I need to do something. And this was one opportunity which was there. And what is life if you just don't go and explore? You'll never know.
Very true.
Whether you are capable of it or not. So I was like, I did have self-doubts, no doubt about it. I did have it, because
do you cherish those moments now?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And a new country, a new environment, it is absolutely so far away from home. When I say home, I mean India. In any part of India, you can do, that, this is your place. But a new country, new rules, work culture, overall everything was so different. And to adapt to it, to kind of rise to the occasion and to say that, okay, let me give it a shot. So I was like, just thrown into the deep sea. And it was like, you figure it out. You'll know it. You have enough and more, knowledge. You have done your, you've worked for a great brand like Tata Steel. You know the culture, and though I would say the culture is extremely different. But then B2C was that wild and dynamic space that, the game used to change like every hour.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, the pulse, you had to be on top of the pulse of your customer, okay, the consumer, the customer there. And you had to, come up with promotion campaigns and, bundle your products and, so that, that so you have to constantly read your customer mind. A lot of teams were involved. Yes, a lot of strategies were there, but then it was an extremely
amazing
dynamic.
So even now, when we speak about Indian mindset or Indian student fraternity as a whole, if I speak about, everybody desires to go Gulf. They feel, bahut paisa hai. I mean, there's huge you can earn there, and it is going to be a lavish life all through. So what's your take on that? Is it something like that, or it's a myth?
I wouldn't say it's a complete myth. Yes, the standard of living is different there in terms of remuneration, in terms of the money that you make is also quite different. But the effort, the hard work, the focus, the dedication is also at a different level. So it is both go hand in hand.
I would say this is very, very powerful what you spoke just now. Because it feels a lot of students, I mean, even if we speak about Gen Z, they feel, yeah, I have a nice cabin, I should have AC, I should have a PA. I mean, there are a lot of aspirations of a student the moment they move out of the industry. So you have explored various industries, various different places, even till day, because we interact with a lot of students, right? So we have students from across the country and even internationally. So when we see students, when they come out first time after their graduation to do their masters, they have a lot of thought process.
Yes.
And on the ground, they would not realize what are the basics which they need to learn, right? So you travel from Kolkata to Bangalore and then Hyderabad, and a lot of cities you've traveled across. How was your experience as a student first? I would love to understand.
So, as a student, I believe that you're constantly evolving, okay? And you come with certain stars in your eyes, okay, saying that, okay, aisa hona chahiye, and, things will be like this, and, I will put minimal effort, but I'll get maximum results.
Very true.
Right? But nobody kind of understands that you really have to put maybe 3 times, 4 times the effort to get that result.
Very true.
But that comes to you as you kind of, spend more and more time in the industry, on the floor, and, get out of. So here, in this 4 walls, you are living an extremely cushioned life.
Very true.
You have people to take care of your needs. You have people to reach out to. You have people to talk to. You have people who are constantly, monitoring you, saying that where is it where is the delta? Where is it that you need to focus? What is it that you need to do? So once you get out of this cushioned life, you are pretty much on your own.
Very true.
Right? You will have to figure this out yourself.
So did your MBA teach all this by any chance?
Yes. So MBA as a program is kind of an eye-opening one.
Okay.
It evolves you. It makes you evolve as a person. It makes you, in terms of maturity, in terms of focus, in terms of, stretch. What do we? So it is only during our MBA days that we brush with this word called you have to stretch. Okay.
Very true.
It is not like, okay, 2 hours, 3 hours, no. You'll have to stretch.
You'll have to stretch.
Okay. So that is where, it kind of prepares you for the world which is outside. Okay. And the world outside is extremely cutthroat. Well, I mean, at least in today's context,
yes.
It is absolutely, people are on their own and they know. And, though there is a lot of talk, a lot of discussions about, work-life balance, Gen Zs viewing everything very differently. But still you would see that, at the base, there are certain things which haven't changed.
So what expectation one should carry when they move out of their MBAs? I would say first time job seekers, as a freshers, they have a lot of aspirations. They have a lot of different thought process, which is actually on the ground, so it does not exist at all. So what's your thought that what preparation should one individual make before getting into industry?
Be always curious. Never stop learning. Have a lot of questions.
You are the right example for learning, I would say. I'll come back to that anyways.
And, have a lot of questions, keep questioning, keep seeking answers, do not shy away from doing things or do not shy away from work.
True.
When somebody is just starting out, it's a long and a huge road ahead. Okay? And you start out essentially with a blank canvas.
Very true.
Okay, so the canvas is yours and it is for you to design it.
Okay.
So do not shy away from asking questions, learning, working, giving your best. These are basic things. AI and automation and everything is going to come later. But these are basic things, which is going to keep pushing you in the right direction.
Okay, so if I have to speak in 2 terms, right? 1 being the knowledge and 2 being the attitude. So where do you prioritize more? Is it that knowledge takes first step ahead, or it is the attitude of an individual which take a step ahead?
Knowledge is something that you carry. Attitude is something that you kind of show. If I find someone who doesn't have the right attitude, I would not know whether that person is knowledgeable enough or not, because I would not feel like interacting with that person.
Very true.
If I would only get to understand the knowledge the person carries if the person has the right attitude.
Absolutely. And there is one nice study with regard to Stanford. I think in GIBS we have put that specific board all across the campus, which says 88% it is the attitude.
Yes.
And remaining just mere 6 is the skill and 6 is the knowledge. So 12% carries the skill and knowledge, and 88% it's all about attitude. And there is always one more term added to it. It is the ownership. The one individual needs to take the ownership to, as you rightly mentioned, design your own canvas. If I don't take the driver's seat for my canvas, I'm sure
nobody will.
Nobody will do that. Okay, so moving ahead again with the domains which you moved in, right? So you moved from B2B to B2C, right? So is that you had a clarity on that? That, okay, I want to get into B2B only, or a specific kind of set of company I want to get into, or a domain or an industry?
When I was doing my PG, my post-graduation, I always had this desire to work for the Tatas. Ratan Tata was the only, kind of individual whom I kind of idolized, his vision, his strategy, and everything. And he was an inspiration. And while growing up, in Calcutta, so you're so close to Jamshedpur, and and you everywhere you see the Tata. At home also, there's a lot of talk, general conversation, about the Tata Group. And I've always wanted to work with the Tatas. And when Tata Steel came for campusing, saying that they have this e-commerce division called M Junction, and it's a B2B space, and I saw all my friends move into banking, the BFSI, insurance, and then retail, like Shopper Stop, Pantaloons, Cafe Coffee Day was a big thing then.
Big thing then.
Yeah. So all that is like, and they had, so their jobs seemed pretty glamorous, in terms of a lot of shosha and all that, and I was like, okay, this was like, okay, you have to, when the expectations were rolled out from MJ, he said that, okay, you have to sit in front. There is an auction. It's an auction house. It's an all-in-one auction house. What do you have to do? You have to ensure that whatever scrap Tata Steel is producing gets sold off to small traders who would reuse them, scrap into something else. So it seemed completely non-glamorous to me.
Very true.
But then it was by chance. It just happened by design that I was like, okay, let me not lose the Tata's brand. I'm getting this opportunity. I would want to work. At the same time, I had friends who had joined, the Taj Group.
Okay. Again,
so again a Tata brand. And they were into hospitality, and I used to see them. In fact, they started work before I did. There was like 2 or 3 weeks before, and I used to see them in all their dressed up and everything, hospitality, right? It's completely different ball game. But then, yeah, as I said, that it happened by design, and I do not regret it. I mean, it kind of paved and shaped whatever I am today. So it was a beautiful experience.
That's really amazing. So you spoke about the learning, right? And I'm sure nobody can be better than you. Like you've been learning even now. I would say recently also you have enrolled for a lot of programs. So you have studied for Harvard. You have done courses from Harvard, Oxford, or I would say even IIM, ISBs. A lot of them. So what it takes for you to move to all those things? Is it really required?
It is. As I said, learning never stops. Okay, and every day the world around you is changing. Okay, and now if you have to be relevant in your field, you will have to upskill yourself.
Very true.
You will have to learn whatever is sticking.
Okay.
Today we are in the age of AI. Okay, and everyone around us is talking about artificial intelligence, irrespective of the fact whether the individual understands artificial intelligence or does not. Okay, we have organizations investing millions and millions of dollars in AI, even without having the vision of the ROI that they will get. But they want to be on that track. Okay, so if we stop learning, how are we going to make ourselves relevant, moving forward? How are we going to, scale up to what is required on the delivery front, on the execution front? So learning is something that will remain with you, that should remain with you, for the entire, for your entire lifespan. In some form or the other, you have to learn.
Okay, so you have been a part of KPMG since quite a long time, a long tenure.
Almost
7 years now, right? So everybody aspires, or also I would say everybody's dream it is to be in one among the big fours, and you are one there. So what do you see every day when you meet a lot of young students coming in, new candidates joining? What difference do you see in them when you joined and when now 7 years down the lane, if I look?
I think in terms of awareness, people now, especially, youngsters are quite aware. They are quite, what do I say? They're like, they know, they're definitive in what they want. Okay, like they know that this is what I want, this is what I want to do. We did not have that clarity.
Okay.
I would say that we were pretty much like, okay, give it to us.
Let's move with the flow,
Yeah, give it to us. We'll see. Okay. Now I see that, people saying that, no, this is not something I would be comfortable with.
Okay.
We never said that.
Very
And
true.
at least I never said that. And this is not something I'll not be comfortable with. I'll see. If I cannot do, I'll come back to you, but let me try.
Right.
I have people who say that, okay, I'll not be comfortable with this. Can I, do something of that sort? Working for a Big Four or working in the consulting space is a little tricky in my sense,
If you could elaborate a little more on this.
I'll say so. There are just it's like a binary thing. It's 1 or a 0. So either you can do it or you cannot do it. There's no gray. There's no midway. And the Big Four, everyone operates that way. So I have seen people who've come in and they have, they've shone like diamonds. They've done excellent. But I've seen people who could not. And have, so what it takes, every person who is there in this consulting space has an X factor. It is there. That is what we essentially look when we, look to hire people. An X factor that goes beyond knowledge, goes beyond whatever books and whatever you've read. It is awareness, it is attitude. It is that, okay, I will see, give it to me. It's that thing, okay, that, I would, and it's also the curiosity. It's like, how much I'm here to explore. Let me see, what is it? We generally look for these in people, it is beyond the usual, interview itinerary, or it's beyond the usual interview script. This is what we do. We see how people will adapt, or how people, students, youngsters, freshers, they're going to, kind of rise up to situations, show accountability, show ownership. Okay, these are
that is very, very important.
Very important things.
So when we speak about consulting, if you could help us what consulting means, or I would rather ask, what am I supposed to do in case as a fresher, if I come to KPMG to join KPMG, what is that I'm expected to do in the company?
So as a fresher, essentially, what we kind of expect you is that you will be shadowing somebody senior within the firm, trying to learn the ways of working. Consulting essentially is it's a complex thing. I do not have a straightforward definition of it. It is, what we essentially do is we help organizations understand value. We help organization optimize. We help organization optimize. When I say optimize business processes, we help organizations understand return on investment. So there is a whole gamut of things that we do as consultants. For a fresher who's coming into the realms of consulting, it is essentially the person needs to understand the ways of working. Needs to, maybe, how is that achieved? Shadow somebody who's senior, who's seasoned in the space. Then you will, there's a lot of managing expectations. There's internal expectations. There's a lot of learning that happens in terms of expectation management. There are internal stakeholders, there are external stakeholders, and then you have to manage both. But all this you can achieve if you are if you are kind of tagged to the right person, and if you also should have come with this mindset. A fresher or should come with this mindset. I'm here to learn. There will be hurdles, there will be roadblocks, there will be a lot of things that is not going to go the way it is supposed to go. That's how things happen. That's how things are. But in spite of that, I'm going to take the best out of it, apply the learnings. I will fail. Nobody, even I fail every day. So, but I will take the lessons, apply them, moving forward. And I will, at every time, I will show up, I will be accountable, and I will give my best.
Amazing. So you spoke about the stakeholder, right? I think various stakeholders, right from the management to the clients to a lot of stakeholders. So how difficult or how easy it is to manage? I mean, you've been doing amazing job managing the stakeholders. So again, I would say what does the stakeholder management mean?
again a tricky and a complex space. So every person comes with his or her own set of nuances, mindset, attitude. Okay, and my role, or a role like mine, is essentially, I'm there at the center. Okay, and I am the bridge between my firm and my clients, and when I say my clients, I mean clients of the firm, and I will have to manage expectations internally. When I say internally from the firm, I will have to manage expectations of my clients. At any point in time, both the parties would want to have a kind of say that, okay, this is how I want. Okay, internally people would say this is how we want it. Clients would say this is how we would want to go it. But then it is to strike a balance.
True.
And it is a difficult task to strike a balance, and it comes with experience. Okay, when I first started my journey, there are several instances I made a mess of, either. But then now I can say that I'm in a position where at least I know, how to come out of it, how to navigate through a difficult situation, just because I have been in this space doing things what I've been doing on a day in, day out basis for the last.
So now, when you spoke about this, the learning or the failures, a lot of people hesitate to be failed, or they don't even try on that, right? That what if I fail, right? So there's always, are we allowed to fail in the industry? Is it okay? Or a strict no, that you have to be perfect? Or no, right? So you can fail a lot of times.
Of course you can. Of course you can. See, failure or not succeeding is part of your learning. And as long as there is integrity, as long as you are, as long as you have ethics, and as long as you do things with integrity, nobody is going to say anything to you. In fact, you will have a lot of support, in terms of a lot of help, in terms of whenever you are in the middle of something which hasn't worked for you. If you say that, okay, I tried and I couldn't, you will have at least 10 people coming and saying, is it? How can we help?
Very true.
So that is how any industry works.
So have you done any mistakes in your early days which gave you a big lesson for life, that okay, ye nahi karna, this I should make sure?
Of course. I've sent incorrect emails to, with sensitive data as well. It was like long back, during the start, because I did not know. I mean, I did not have the entire background context to the situation, and I was asked that, okay, this is what it is. This is the expectation. So and I did not even know how to recall a message at that point in time. And and I still remember, my manager was like, "What have you done? You've sent this," and so he was furious. Okay, and he said that this is absolutely unacceptable. What did I do? I owed up to it.
That is very important.
Yeah, this is what, and the minute I owed up to it, saying that I'm sorry. I know that this should not happen, but this has happened, and I take full responsibility. The minute I said that, the same person who was furious a second back said, okay, let's see how we can fix this.
Very true.
So this is what an everyday scenario might look like when you're working, or when you are, when you're there at your workplace. As I said, you have to show up, you have to show ownership, and you have to be accountable for whatever you do. You are accountable for your things.
I think this is one of the biggest piece of advice which you gave just now. Let's own it.
Yes.
Take the responsibility. Absolutely. That's okay. I mean, doing good, doing right, wrong, that's okay. Just own responsibility. And many times what we have seen is people take responsibility only when they win.
Yes.
And when they lose, it's the team who lost it. If I win, it's I who won it. I have done something like that. So going forward in the industry, don't you think it creates a lot of confusions or miscommunication between the team?
See, a good leader is someone who always makes her team, or always showcases her team first and then herself. Okay, that is the basic requirement of a good leader.
Good leader.
Okay, and a good leader will be more supportive, will win battles for you when the stakes are down.
Very true.
That is what a true leader does. Okay, and that is how you will also see that high performing teams, teams who have done fabulously well, they all work with one individual who has these characteristics. And I am blessed, in fact, that my mentor, my ex performance manager, now my mentor, he's that kind of an individual.
Amazing. Now this one thing which you said, the gratitude, I mean, this takes anybody the next level wherever they are currently. If I say that if Miss Basu is 22 years old today, and if she has to look back and restart things, how would you do it?
Well, I'll cut down on the impulse. My year old self was extremely impulsive. Used to look for kind of shortcuts. Okay.
I think even Gen Z are looking forward for that.
Yeah. I mean, yes, but used to feel that I'll do minimum, but I'll get maximum. Okay. But then that's not how things work. So I would definitely cut down on the impulse. I would definitely, change this thing of, that whatever it is, even if it is like, walking from your house and going to a cafe to pick up a cup of coffee, that also needs, focus, attention.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, forget about
what
your deliverables are.
That's absolute intense, I would say. If somebody could understand the real relevance of this, I think they would have got the right message. And one thing is, how does your a week look like at this point of time when you're working? What sort of pressures you are under, or is it okay now? Since we have got settled in life, we have achieved a certain positions. So how does your week looks like?
Settled. There's no. I don't believe in settled. No, you're always on the move. That's how you grow, essentially. I mean, a week. I start my days pretty early because I have 2 pets at home. I have 2 dogs.
I know you are a dog lover. Yeah. Oh wow, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they keep me on my feet always.
That's amazing.
I start my day pretty early, and because I wake up early because of them, I after their walk and everything is done, I start my work day. Okay. Initially, I start it at home.
Okay.
And then usually I would have meetings. I'm required to be at the client office for majority of my week.
Okay.
And after finishing my meetings, Bangalore being Bangalore, commute is
big challenge.
Is a big challenge. And so what I do is, especially when I'm commuting from point A to point B, I tend to catch up on emails and tend to catch up on calls which I might have missed when I was in meetings. That's how I utilize the commute time. I do not much drive because it's an added stress, the traffic situation and everything. I don't want to take that bit. And then I pretty much end my day in the evening, and post that. So I am into into Latin dance.
I was just about to ask about this.
Yeah.
That how do you manage about your salsa as well? So I was just about to come to the same question now. Okay.
Yeah. So my weekends are spent at the studio, wherein I train in salsa and bachata as the 2 Latin forms. That's my kind of de-stress.
I was just about to ask the same thing, that how do you balance between your passion and a work life?
Yeah, so my entire week, Monday to Friday, I'm dedicated to to work. I don't kind of do anything else much. Yes, a bit of workout here and there I do. I do spend time with my pets, whatever time I have, but essentially it's work. So that is priority.
Very
Monday
true.
to Friday. But then weekends is essentially when I unwind. If I'm traveling, I'll take my dogs along and then I'll go somewhere, travel. If not, studio is a compulsory thing. I train Saturday, Sunday both.
So is it something, and I might be wrong here, I would say, Bengalis Okay, I'll come back to it. So what happens is they're very good at music. The art form is again one of
Performance
it is
arts.
in their blood, I would say. And probably it can be dance, it can be painting, it can be drawing, sketching, a lot of amazing art forms. So were you also trained in such a way from the childhood, bacha, you have to do this musical instruments?
Yes, so you're right about. I think we as a community, it is. So there are two things usually, you will find in every Bengali household. The first is you have to be really good in studies. Okay, there is
No,
no
very true.
alternate to studying right from childhood. Okay, that is something that that cannot, whatever it is,
That's
you
the
will
reason
have to
Bengalis
study.
are the smartest people,
That's debatable, but then and the second thing is that anything to do with performing arts,
Very
be it
true.
music, be it musical instruments, be it sketching, painting, dance, anything, but you
Info.
have to do something apart from studies. That is
Studies.
that's the way I think
Inherent from
Bengalis
the
are
childhood.
brought up, kind of. I mean, I've seen my parents also same, my house, my cousins, my everybody, undergoes through the same life cycle, I would say. That, that okay, studies is there, but what else
What
apart
else?
from studies? So
Amazing, amazing. So, if you have to give a message to students to balance between the passion, as you rightly put across that, yes, not all things you have done, but for these, now there's a lot of depression around, right? A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety amongst the Gen Z, or even I would say school going kids. Now,
yes,
recently there
absolutely.
was NEET case where we've
Yes,
seen
yes,
a lot of
yes, yes.
disaster happening in the country, right? So, now when we look forward, how do we balance on passion that keeps you more subtle, that keeps you more calm, at the same time you are focusing on your work at the same time? So how do you balance that? What advice would you
I
give?
think, Sandeep, a lot of this, stress, as we say, is created by the environment the student is in, be it, home environment, be it the educational institute. I think students need a lot of understanding from parents, from teachers, from mentors, from, various
Very true.
aspects, saying that after all, end of the day, they are students, right? They are bound to make mistakes. They are bound to not give their best 100% of the times. And that we, as somebody who has been through that journey, somebody who is more experienced than them, should understand that.
Do you consider during our days the pressure was comparatively lower, and now the parental pressure or the peer pressure has gone
Shot
beyond it?
up.
Yeah,
Yes, it has.
because
And I think social media is to blame for it.
absolutely. And these days it is like if you have not cleared one exam, it might be anything. It might be C exams, it might be NEET, it might be JEE, any of that means they feel the life is at the
Over.
end. The life is over.
But there are so many career options. You imagine when we were growing up, essentially we were told engineering, medicine. If you want to do something in life, these are the only two options
Only
that
two
you
options.
have. People who go into honors and BSc, BA and BCom, they are. We were told that they are average.
They're average.
Okay, they are not going to do something huge in life. But if you have to do something, it has to be engineering or we were. That is what. But now, if you see, there are innumerable career options.
Very
You
true.
don't have to be an engineer or a doctor or a CA to do something in life. You can do something in life even if you call yourself a professional pet sitter.
Absolutely.
That is a career in itself.
I happen to have a last podcast with one of the founder of Student Gig platform, and they just said very rightly. They said you've been paid really well only for pet sitting.
Absolutely.
I would say adult care.
Yes.
I mean, as in parental, when, for example, my parents are at home alone and they have to take to the movie, probably they can hire somebody and do that. I mean, there are n number of opportunities.
I'm just saying, so pet sitting was just an example that came out, but there are innumerable things that you can do. All you need to have is, as I said, be curious, be dedicated and just be focused. That's it. It doesn't matter if your friend is a doctor or some other friend is an engineer. If you know what you want to do, you can very well do it. All you need to do is, okay, I will be focused in my thing.
All in or all out. Basically, that's how it goes.
Absolutely. And it's nothing like, if today okay, I have been, working so hard to get this done, and somehow that does not happen.
Right.
That does not mean it is the end of the world for me.
Very true.
I will learn from it. I will take time. Of course, nobody is expecting you to. That is where I said the support comes in. Okay, that your as parents, as mentors, as instructors, we should also give that support, saying that take your time, but you will get out of it.
That one support is somewhere I feel missing these days.
I mean, I don't know. There's too much of this thing of some imaginary timeline or some imaginary deadline that is working in everybody's head,
mind. Yeah, very true.
Saying that okay, have
and
to do
this again these days the influencer. I'm sorry for the influencer. I'm saying this because they say financially who's into it? Fire, right? The fire number, that when do you achieve your fire number? When do you get retired early? There was no retirement earlier. I mean, even if we ask our parents, well, they say, what retirement? Let's till the time we are working. But now it is like, okay, I want to retire at 40, I want to retire at 50.
See, you can. Okay, nobody is saying that it is incorrect that if somebody has this aspiration, okay, the minute, the day I hit 40, I want to hang up my boots. But for that, you need to work
towards. Very true.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to fall from the sky, right? That, okay, you're 40, chalo, retired now. You'll have to work towards it, right?
Yes.
For that, you need to have a plan.
Very true.
You need to have a plan at least 20 years before, when you, from the day you are 20, you need to have a plan that this is what I'm going to do, which is going to help me retire when I hit 40.
Very true.
So there are no shortcuts there also.
Very true. So again, as we are on a part of our IRE, which speaks on innovation, research and entrepreneurship, right? So what do you think, what is the relevance of being innovative, the research-based approach one should have, or the entrepreneurial skills if somebody has to pursue? Is it okay to let go of these things, or it goes all hand in hand? What's your thought about it?
I think it all goes hand in hand. Innovation is the need. I mean, innovation is something which keeps us, moving, the world moving, especially today, as I was talking about, a lot of, everybody wants to innovate, everybody wants to automate, everybody wants to do everything. So research is something, again, you can only innovate if you have the right research in place. Okay. Entrepreneurship is something which this is again a personal, it's a perspective. It's just my personal belief. Entrepreneurship is something not everybody has, not everybody is equipped with.
Very true.
Okay, so entrepreneurship is like, for example, if I talk about myself, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't have anything to be an entrepreneur. But there are millions of people who are entrepreneurs. Okay? And so it is an individualistic thing.
So if we speak about startup versus corporate life,
because I've always been in the corporate space, I would always choose corporate. As I said, I don't have even a shred of entrepreneurship in me.
Okay.
I don't have it. I've never even thought about doing or having my own venture. Never, seriously. I mean, I've never
thought about it. No. Okay. So if you speak about corporate, so I want you to give us that one inside information that nobody tells about the corporate life.
It is, what has worked for me is, it is essentially the attitude that I carry to work. Okay. And that is completely on me. Okay. Corporate life is, so see, there will be good people, there will be bad people everywhere.
True.
It's a mix. Okay. You will never have a dream team wherein, it will be only amazing people around. No, you'll never have that. Never have that. But the difference that you can bring is in your attitude. Okay. And you will have your attitude from day one, but the experience that you gather as you move along the corporate path is going to help you, shape that attitude and demonstrate, or maybe demonstrate is maybe not the right word, but come across and deal with situations, people, basis, the attitude that you have. That is something that has worked for me.
Okay, that's really amazing. So if just one last piece of advice for all those students, aspiring students who are looking forward to join corporate, and specifically if I say KPMG, what are your requirements in terms of being in industry, that this is what at least you should be equipped with before entering the industry?
So, people, you have your knowledge already. You are, studying here, which already has given you the edge, which maybe a majority of folks don't have. So you are here because you have done something really great. So that acknowledgement of that, that is point number one. Okay. The second is never stop being curious. Be aware of what is happening around you. Okay. Talk to people, different people. Do not shy away from making new connections. When I say new connections, I'm talking about, do not shy away from getting advice or, attending some events here and there, whatever you can get your hands on. I'm not asking you to go out of the way and do it. All this, connections, then talking with people, then helps you being aware of what is going on, what is churning around you. And also, be focused, and have your goals somewhere, in writing, or in your head, saying that this is what I want to do. And it does not necessarily have to be ABC. It can be XYZ also.
That's an amazing message, I would say. Thank you so much, Ms. Basu, for joining us. And I'm sure a lot of our aspiring students and audience have learned, truly speaking, I have learned a lot of things today. Being with Ms. Basu today, and I'm also a pet lover, I would say. So we align with the same boat. But looking forward, that let's learn, as she rightly mentioned, that be curious, don't shy away with things. That's okay, give it a try. Winning, losing, it's all part of the game. But that's absolutely okay. And thank you so much for joining us. It is an honor to have you with us today.
It's an absolute pleasure, Sandeep. Thank you so much, and wishing everybody, all the very best. All of us are here to help you. All of us are here to, guide you. And anything that you need, please do not shy away. But please do reach out. Talk, communicate. That is the key to doing everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this IRE podcast. I'm sure you would have learned a lot of things about how to be curious, what are the requirements of getting into industry, and like big brands like KPMG, TATA, and many more. So looking forward that we keep learning, we keep engaging ourselves, and throughout our journey, we seek our students learn a lot of new things, and looking forward to welcome you at GIBS to have one-on-one learning experience here. Thank you so much. Signing off, Sandeep Bansali once again. Have a great day ahead, and please take care of yourselves. Thank you.